We are here. It is the first official Sevens Life show, baby. We are here in the down to the last second zone, baby. It's the down to the last second zone. And it's in my backyard, my casa. I got food cooking in the background. The down to the last second zone is right next to the fridge. I can literally just roll over and go pick up something to drink. It's unbelievable. We have wanted to do this for a very long time to give you guys some context, some background information on why we finally decided to start it now is, I guess, because I'm finally ready to give you guys a Sevens Life show. The big thing with anything, at least for me, whenever I start something, I want to be able to continue on with that something. So I would hate to start something and then not be able to continue it. So my hope is that we could do one of these every couple weeks, or we could do one every week, or we could do one every month. But at least at the most, I want to do one of these every single month. And I think that we can make it happen with your help. You see, your support, your tuning into the show, that certainly will motivate more shows. So hopefully you get to check out this Sevens Life show. I'm very excited about it. We're going to talk about youth. We're going to talk about college. We're going to talk about club, pro, and, of course, the World Rugby Sevens series. It's an Olympic year, but who knows? My goal is to either be in this down to the last second zone when we give a show, or we will be out on the road. So whether we're at a tournament and we try to do a show at the tournament, or we try to give a show really anywhere. I don't know. It could be on top of a mountain somewhere. You know, we have traveled all over the USA and beyond. We've been to Tahiti. Here we go, baby. Day 2 in Tahiti. We've been to Barbados. We've been to Japan. We have been to Hawaii. We've been to Arizona and Alaska. Come on, this microphone just fell on me, man. Come on. Did I mention that we're low budget? Low budget. We've been to New Zealand. We just got back from New Zealand. That was freaking amazing. To New Jersey and New York and Pennsylvania and Connecticut and California and Colorado. We have been all over covering Rugby Sevens. And it has been quite the ride. It has been amazing to cover what I believe is the greatest sport on earth, the greatest sport in the world, the greatest sport in the universe. Even aliens look down upon us and say, man, I wish I could play that game. Other forms of life that live in different galaxies so far, far away look down on Rugby Sevens and they say, I want to be there. I want to play Rugby Sevens. God in heaven, the angels look upon Rugby Sevens and say, how, what an amazing game that it is. The intensity of it, how everybody gives it their all, the fitness that you have to play this game, the incredible strength, the incredible mind that your mind goes to these places that you can only reach while playing an incredible game like Rugby Sevens. The speed of it is unbelievable. The open field tackles, my gosh, the highlights are never ending. It's an unbelievable game, and that's why we do it. We do it also because it is such a community game. There is such a special touch about rugby. There is something that we require as people. We require a touch. We enjoy a touch of some sort. And rugby gives us that touch, and it just brings us closer, and it brings love, and it brings brotherhood, and it brings sisterhood. It's just an amazing game. I have so many great things to say about it. Especially Rugby Sevens, I feel like, because the field is now 7 guys on each side instead of 15 guys on each side. I feel like that there is even more trust that you have to have between the guys and gals next to you, and that creates a deeper bond because you have to trust them even more now because there's so much room for error, or there's no room for error out there. It's still the same size pitch and you're trying to cover the same ground. It's just unbelievable. So the trust that and the bond that is formed between a Rugby Sevens team is like none other. and it's such a special thing. So we're going to get into this Sevens Life show, and of course, the first thing that is kind of the elephant in the room is the coronavirus. And I feel like we're reaching a place in time where everybody has to like react a certain way. Like you feel like, oh, I need to react this way to show that I care, or I need to react this way because if I don't react this way, then people are going to think that I'm trying to be offensive, or if I react like this, then they'll think that I don't care about it or I do care about it, and if I say this, then they'll think this, and I say that, then they'll think that. And I mean, you know, people laugh sometimes when someone dies because it's just a weird emotion that comes up. It's such a unknown thing. It's such an unknown and uncertain thing. And I think when unknown things happen, people don't know how to react. And sometimes a response comes out how somebody else wouldn't want it to come out. And then they feel like they're supposed to respond to that in a certain way because they feel like others may not agree with that, and the others do, and it's just a weird thing. And we just have to have an incredible amount of grace in this time. We have to have an incredible amount of forgiveness for the people that are across from us and the people that we do life with every single day, because it's such a tough time right now. It's an uncertain time. It's an unknown time. States are going on lockdown. That has never happened in my lifetime. Businesses are being shut down. Events are being canceled all across the world, and it is such an uncertain time, and you just need to give grace. I don't care what somebody says. I don't care how they respond to it. We just need to show grace in this time because it's such an uncertain time. And, we're doing life with people every day, so we need to come together. We need to stay together. We need to have grace for each other when we may say something that the other person doesn't really like. And we've just got to do the best that we can to continue to move forward and know that everybody reacts and says some things that they don't always mean as well in times like this, and even times that are not like this. Sometimes we say something that we regret immediately, and it comes out the wrong way, or we don't mean it that way. We all grew up in different societies and different worlds, and but anyhow, the coronavirus is becoming more serious by the day. I'm not a person that lives in fear. I don't ever live in fear. I don't live in hysteria. I'm a very calm person. I'm a very at peace person. And, I do my best to just continue to live my life and have grace for people and try to be at peace with my life and do the best that I can to show love to everyone that I encounter. So that's what I encourage you guys to do as well, to be at peace and to do the best that you can, and to show love to those around you, and to not be hysterical or out of control with all this. So I believe that we're going to get through it. I think that, maybe in a month or so that things are going to start to pass and we're going to be able to get back to the way that we were living. And but I also believe that, in a time like this, to really look at your life, to really say, am I living my best life? Am I living the life that I should live? Am I living the way that I want my kids to look at someday and say, or my kids now and say, I want to live my life like that? Are we happy with the lives that we live? And are we at peace with the lives that we live? I think that this is a big reality check for a lot of people in times like this. And, it's an okay thing. It's a normal reaction to have. So, now that I've done 10 minutes of this, or however long it is after I cut this, I forgot to put my cool fancy light on, so let me put that light on real quick. Oh! Wow. Okay! Wow, does that look a lot better? We're gonna, talk about how this has affected Rugby Sevens, and we pretty much have cancellations and postponements across the board, and it's a very uncertain time for sure. Everything, like I said, around the world are being canceled. So we're going to start with the youth section of this show, youth high school. We're going to start with that section of the show. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the North American High School Series 7's Championship, baby. And this is, first of all, This is a high school elite Rugby 7 series that is in the US and Canada. The goal of this series is to increase the talent level, to develop Rugby 7's players, and to just give these guys a platform to play primetime elite rugby, because like we see a lot in high school and college level, there is just massive blowouts. I mean, everywhere that you look at the schedule, you're just seeing these big time blowouts, and in my opinion, I don't really feel like that's very productive all the time. So it's a great thing what Michael Kressler and the crew are doing with the North American High School Series, because it is providing a platform where there's more even talent level, and they're able to get better. When you're faced with competition, you definitely grow as a player and as a person and as a team when the competition gets harder. We have academies all over the U.S. that are involved in this series. The first stop of the series, it was supposed to be Easter weekend in Orlando, Florida, and it was canceled. Not postponed. This was actually canceled. But I want to do kind of a what-if scenario, so we're going to talk about some of the pools that were set up there at this first stop on the series. There was 16 teams total. For the boys and the girls. Not all the teams were were a part of the series. There were some invitational teams that came from out of different countries, and one or two select teams that were involved in it as well, just to even out the competition. But there were not all series teams. But let's go through the pools and let's give my quick synopsis of who I feel like would have won the first stop at the North American High School Series. So in Pool A for the boys, we have Eagle Impact Rugby Academy, we have Utah Rugby Academy, we have the Jamaican Crocs from Jamaica, and we have Rock Rugby Academy. Now, based on what I know, Rock Rugby Academy had lost quite a few players that were absolutely incredible. Last year they took second in Utah, losing to Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. What an incredible 2019 that those boys had. But it's going to be a little bit different in 2020. I have seen the Jamaican Crocs play in Barbados. Their young development team. I think not the entire roster was there, but they have some firepower over there. And then Utah Rugby Academy, also a growing team from last year, getting better each year, also plenty of firepower. And then Eagle Impact Rugby Academy, they're the defending champs, and they look better than ever. They've lost some great players, but man, the tunnel that they have of the funnel that they have over there of players that just keep coming in over there in the California area is fantastic. And no doubt about it, I believe that they would take this pool. And then I think it would be a battle between the Jamaican team and Utah to take that second spot. Pool B, we have Arizona Bobcats, Brisbane Samoa Academy from Australia, Rebel Rugby Academy, and Upright Rugby. Upright from Canada, won it 2 years ago. Always developing great talent over there in Canada and pulling in some great numbers every time they show up to a tournament. We have Rebel Rugby Academy, also a growing elite academy over there, and they're always coming with plenty of firepower, and I've heard that they had a lot coming for this tournament for sure. And then Samoa, I don't know a lot about this specific academy, but I know Samoans know how to play rugby. If you're from Samoa, you usually know how to play rugby. So Samoa would have definitely, I'm sure, came with some pretty good talent and would be a tough out here. And then the Arizona Bobcats, a younger team last year, coming into another year here in 2020. I think a lot of those younger guys have been developing over there, and they would have been a tough team to play. However, here's my prediction of Pool B. I think that Rebel Rugby would come through and Upright Rugby would come through. But man, I think that this is the toughest pool in my opinion, because you don't know what to expect from Samoa. You don't know what to expect from Arizona as a growing team, hoping that they're getting better. But those are my two teams. And then for Pool C, we have a team from Wales called Landovery College, Canadian Misfits, The North American High School Barbarians. This was a select team that was placed in. The North American High School Barbarians are usually an elite, like, all-star team of this series. They grab players from this series and make an all-star team. They this wouldn't be the all-star team of all the best players in the series on this specific team, but for the purposes of evening out the pool, they made a team and they're just bringing kind of a crop of guys to play on this team. And then Rhino Rugby Academy. Great team out there in California, in Irvine, California, doing incredible things. I've heard their story, and no doubt about it, they came with some firepower in LA. They took second place, only losing to Eagle Impact Rugby Academy, and they did not go down easily. This was anyone's game for most of the match, and that was very encouraging because Rhino was like, yo, we weren't on the series last year, but we're on the series this year, and we're about to come and take the whole entire thing in our first year. Like, they showed that type of skill out there on the pitch, and no doubt about it, I have them coming through Pool C. And I think that either the Misfits or this team from Wales, I don't really know Wales, but if this team is anything like the team that plays on the series, and I don't know about this. I'm going to go with the Canadian Misfits, also always packing tons of heat. Talk to those boys out there in New Zealand at the World School Sevens. They have a great group of guys over there, very talented bunch. I think Rhino Rugby and Canadian Misfits would come through Pool C. And then for Pool D, we have Atlantis. Atlantis Rugby. Never, ever, ever, ever can you count out Atlantis. They've been around for a very long time. The legendary Emil Cygnus that started the Atlantis program, like back in like the 70s or something like that, where they went to their first tournament in Harvard. Like, this team has deep, deep roots. So no doubt about it, they always come with great players and have talent that's always rising up ready to play for Atlantis. We have Gorilla Rugby Academy. They're a new academy out there in the Texas area. Last year, they showed some real firepower, and they showed some real encouraging performances. They didn't quite get there, but you could tell, oh wow, if this team sticks together, and oh wow, if they continue to develop these players like this, and there's some more talent coming through Texas, this could be a lethal team. Plus, their jerseys are really dope. I really like their jerseys. I like the gorilla, like, man, what's up, gorilla baby. Green and gold from Canada, and then USA Rugby South. USA Rugby South, another team that was pretty lethal in that Utah tournament last year, kind of unexpected, but really came out and punched some teams in the mouth and held their own pretty well. And I know that they had some great football studs on their team in Orlando last year that didn't play in Utah, but still kind of had a good tournament. So I no doubt about it, I think they would come with some firepower. I think Atlantis would go through Pool D. And it's either Gorilla or USA Rugby South. I don't know a lot about Green and Gold from Canada, but I think I'm going to lean toward USA. I think USA would come in. If they're coming in with a lot of the guys from last year, they would pull it off. So there you go. There's the final 8 that I would predict coming through this. If the tournament went down, and maybe we'll go down in Utah, we'll see some. We're going to see. That's 8. Okay. I don't know where they would end up on the bracket from there in that Elite 8, but I'll give you my best 4 teams out of this, and I think I would go with Eagle Impact Rugby Academy, Rhino Rugby Academy, Atlantis, and it's either between Rebel Rugby or the Misfits, maybe even Upright. Man, this is so tough. I'm hearing Rebel was going to come with some firepower, so I'll go with Rebel Rugby Academy. I'm sorry to my Canadian brothers, but I could be wrong here. Like, this is all hypothetical, okay? Don't judge me! Anyway, though, out of those final 4, let's go down to the championship. If I just pick the best 2 out of that, I would go with Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. I just can't go against them. I mean, they're the defending champs, and they're coming in with a firepower. I saw them in LA. And then I would go with either Rhino or Atlantis and a Rebel. Rebel's so uncertain. I never got to see the roster, but I heard they were coming with some heat. Gosh, this is so hard. Okay, I'm just going to go with Atlantis. I'm going to go with it. No, I'm not going to go with Atlantis. I'm going to go with... Holy crap, this is hypothetical and I can't even come up with the answer. I'm going to go with Rhino again. Rematch of LA. Eagle Impact Rugby Academy versus Rhino Rugby Academy. Another incredible match, but I think Eagle Impact ends up taking them down even by a couple more tries than they did last time. I believe in Eagle Impact that much. And I think Eagle Impact ends up winning the first stop on the series, heading into Utah for the boys. Now, for the girls. For the girls, we have, here is, once again, I'm reading off of Goff Rugby from the pools that he has set off here. Alex Goff doing an incredible job over there. I mean, this guy is like a machine. The amount of articles that he pumps out, the amount of just rugby information that he pumps out. I want to know his secrets because he is a freaking machine. There's actually like 10 Alex Goffs out there, and we don't always see them. They just rotate between each other, and when they're on the phone and all. That's just a theory. But anyway, I'm a big conspiracy theory. Or, you know, it's not really conspiracy if it's true. Pool A for the girls. We have Atlantis, Arizona, Rock Rugby, and the Samoa Academy. I think Atlantis, the defending champions of the North American High School Series. The defending champions definitely lost some really good players. But coming in still with plenty of firepower. Atlantis is coming through that, no doubt about it. And then I'll go with Samoa. Why not? I'll go with Samoa on this one. Those Polynesian girls, man, laying the wood, man, laying big shots out there. Pool B, Rebel Rugby Academy, Gorilla Rugby, Renegades 32, Green and Gold Academy. I will let you know now, I've never seen the Renegades play. I've never seen Green and Gold play. I've never even seen the girls play from Gorilla because I don't believe that they were involved last year. I only saw Rebel Rugby. So just off that, I'm going to go with Gorilla and Rebel. For Pool C, we have Lions Rugby. We have the Badger Selects from Wisconsin. We have Aurora Barbarians, Canadian Misfits. And we have Thunder Rugby. Never seen Thunder Rugby play. Never seen the Badger Selects play, but I heard that they're pretty good. I've definitely seen the Lions Rugby Academy play. They took second last year in the series, or took second at the NAI Sevens at least in Utah. I'm going to go with the Lions. And between the Badgers and the Misfits, I'm leaning towards the Badgers. I'll go with the Badgers on this one. Man, I'm just hating on the Canadians here, but I love Canada. Love it. Maple Leafs. As a kid, I jumped in leaves every fall. So, Pool D, Upright Rugby Academy, USA South, Rhinos Rugby Academy, and Sunshine Coast Fever. I believe that they're from Australia. I'm not certain, but Aussies always packing heat. And I'm just going to go on a limb here and say that the Aussies make it through. And then I would say Upright. There you go, Canada. Canada going through, baby. Okay, my top four. Atlantis, Lions, Sunshine Coast, and the Badgers. The championship match, if I had to pick, I'm going with Atlantis, no doubt about it. Atlantis is going through, and Atlantis would battle it out if the pools fell right with the Lions, and it would be a rematch of Utah, and it would have so much hype, and the teams, the players would be just grilling each other down like, what's up, baby? And then this game, wow, man. Oh, man, it's going to go with, hey, why not? Utah pulls it off in Orlando. Whoa! So there you go. Eagle Impact Rugby Academy wins it for the boys, and Utah wins it for the girls. You heard it here first, and you can never come back and say you were wrong because that ain't going down. That being said as well, what I'm hearing is that they hope to make up the first stop. We don't know where it's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to happen because obviously there's something called the coronavirus that is just leaving us in a very big unknown. We don't know what's going to happen at all in any way, shape, or form. But I know that they want to make up that stop and still have 2 stops. So we'll see if it happens. You know, we're all praying and hoping that that goes down. Next, we're going to talk about College Sevens. And as you may already know, I released a video saying that College Sevens is canceled across the board. There's no College Sevens. You know, all these players are going home. A lot of them are already home. You know, they're having online classes. Like, there's just so much going on in the collegiate just landscape altogether. And all the games have been canceled. It's not happening. There's no postponing. You know, we're going to have to wait till next year. I haven't heard anything on eligibility, whether these players can come back and play again if they were in their senior year. And I don't know if they would want to. I mean, if they're able to graduate now, I don't know if they're going to want to just go back to school and say, I guess I'll just like take random classes just so I could play rugby sevens or rugby in general for another year since I have another year eligibility. I don't know, maybe they want to take some select classes or graphic design class. I don't know. You know, if they could pull it off or how many credits that they would have to take to be able to play for the teams. It would be a very interesting thing, for it depends on where their life is going. But if we had to run through that, we had to just give random predictions on who we thought would win the College Sevens Championship this year. As I mentioned in my report before, it's supposed to go down at Aviva Stadium in Houston, Texas. It was set to go towards the end of May, and it was supposed to go down. And I was looking forward to that because, like I said, I got fam in Houston. I got love for Houston. H-Town, what up? Stand up. You already know H-Town. Yeah. So, for the women, I believe that nothing was going to stop Lindenwood. They're the 3-time champs for College Sevens, and they are also the 3-time champs for the CRCs, and they are the 3 times champs for 15s as well. And they showed no signs of slowing down. They lost some really powerful players like Anna Karen Pedraza and Mackenzie Hawkins, but they had plenty of heat coming in, extremely talented, and then plenty of firepower across the board that's still there. Teresa Bueso, Karen DeFritas, Nika Buitin, Morgan Freeman, Sativa Pakarongu. Sorry, I definitely said it wrong. Rochelle Stevens. Man, there's tons. They didn't lose at all in 15s this year, except for some random games that they played with teams that were outside of their conference, like non-collegiate teams or whatever. They lost some of those. Central Washington played them the closest, so maybe they'd give them a shot. You know, Life and Penn State always there. Dartmouth, but I think Lindenwood would win the women's College Sevens for sure. I think you could crown them now. I'm that confident in it that they would win. For the men, we got a complete different story. Okay, Lindenwood lost some really big seniors to last year. The two-time CRC champs and the 3-time USA Rugby Collegiate Sevens champs would be back, and they would definitely be a tough out, and I believe that they would finish towards the top, if not at the top. But just to run down some of the other teams that I believe would be a very force at that College Sevens. Cal, obviously, always a big-time force. Christian Dyer coming back from a big injury. Henry Poon coming back from a big injury. I don't know if Sam Walsh would make it in time, but Cal was going to come with some firepower for sure. They would have been a very tough out. Life as always. Teams like Arkansas State, even Kutztown, Aaron Gray and DeMonte Noble, 2 seniors in their last season, played incredible last year, had it down to the last second finish in the quarterfinals against St. Mary's. Kutztown would have been a really tough out. St. Mary's would have been a really tough out. Central Washington, UCLA, man, Davenport, this would have been such a fun College Sevens for the boys because the competition is so neck and neck in this, and it's getting better every single year. I've been saying this over the last 3 years that it just keeps getting better and better and better, and it would have been like that again this year. It would have been even better again this year. And who knows who would have took this thing. But if I just had to give you, I'll just go with my top 4. Lindenwood, Cal. Yeah. Kutztown. Man. Even Arizona thrown in there. Davenport, Central Washington, UCLA. Wow, this would have been so hard to cover. This would have been so hard to call. I like those boys from UCLA. I would go with Lindenwood, Cal, UCLA, and either between Life, Kutztown, Central Washington, even Navy. My gosh, this could be so wrong, but so right at the same time. I will go with... even St. Mary's. I mean, it's just so hard to choose. This is unbelievable. I'll go with Life. I just go with Life. Yeah. Okay. So, picking a winner. Oh, man. Oh, I can't eat my words. So, man, I think that a lot of those boys over there at Cal have been waiting for this moment to finally get back to the pedestal, to finally get to that top spot. And they were coming in with some dogs for sure, some boys that really wanted this. And I think that Cal would win it this year. Whoa. But I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. Hypothetical. What up? You can't come back at me. Either way, come at me, bro. It don't matter. It don't matter. Don't matter. I'm just doing this. I'm just doing this. What up? All right, that's it for college. We have to wait until next year. Now, we're moving on to the Club Sevens. Club Sevens, it's still in the air. Nothing's been postponed. Nothing's been canceled. But all the qualifiers are up in the air. I don't know if any of those qualifiers are even named yet. A lot of the invitational tournaments, a lot of those are getting shut down and canceled depending on when they are. A lot of them are in June, July, August. That's when we see everything go down in August for the Club Sevens Championship. So it's possible that we still see a Club Sevens Championship this year. I think there's also just, things with USA Rugby. Forget the coronavirus. I think that there's just things with USA Rugby where they're trying to get everything in order to even pull off this event. Like whether Corona was happening or not, this was going to be an interesting thing if they were going to be able to pull it off. I think that they would probably find a way to pull it off. I don't know how amazing the event would be, but I think they would probably find a way to pull it off. And it would go down. And I hope that it still does go down. So we'll see what happens there. I know for sure that a lot of people are working from home, and they don't have to report on a lot of rugby issues. They don't have to report on a lot of rugby games. They don't have to report on a ton of things right now. So they have plenty of time to take a step back, bring in the restructure where they need to, hire whoever they need to, put things in place for the plan, because what you try to do is you try to put together a plan, but the world doesn't stop spinning. Like, things are still going. So you're trying to implement a plan, which is what we're trying to do, to try to scale up higher, but things don't stop. So this has actually been, for us as well, with a lot of these cancellations and things being postponed, we're able to take a step back and not travel around like a madman and mad woman and, mad people all over the world. And we're able to try to continue to do what we've been trying to do to put this thing in place and to structure this thing. But for the purposes of, once again, Prediction City, baby, let's talk about the Club Sevens. I think if we just keep it short here, I think last year, with Life West and the Surfers and All Blues and Scion for the women, even ARPTC, I think those teams are finishing towards the top for the women. Once again, the Surfers coming to be 3-time champions. That would be really exciting to watch, and I think that they can pull it off. And they're in San Diego. That's been a hub for so many players that have went on to play for the USA Sevens team. So you never know there. For the men, we have a Washington Athletic Club pulled it off. A lot of old dogs coming in with some new tricks on the side, and they pulled it off at Club Sevens last year. I don't know if they'd be able to do it again coming in this year. My suggestion would say that they probably wouldn't. I think Life West would come in with a lot of serious power like they did last year. Chicago Lions, after I saw them in LA, whoo! Man, these boys from Chicago, I'm telling you, if that team stayed together and they remained healthy, that would be top 3 finish, guaranteed. Maybe even winning the Club Sevens championship. They had the pieces. Utah's always coming in big, and Skill River. I don't ever leave Skill River out of a conversation now after what they did last year. I mean, just legendary Sevens tournament for Schuylkill River last year. Of course, the regulars, Old Blue, Mystic River from the East Coast. Hopefully Mystic would come back with some firepower. I heard that they are. We still don't know. I heard that they're coming in with some ballers. Of course, the whole MLR thing is, MLR has been canceled this year. So if Club Sevens does reunite, if like Club Sevens gets back together, baby, and we do this, and it's not canceled and it goes down, there's going to be a lot of boys from MLR that are saying, hey, I want to play. And I don't know if their contracts would allow them to, or I would think that they would allow it because they're not getting to play rugby here. You need to continue to play. You can't just sit on your butt for the next 6 months before the season starts again, however long that it would be. So I think that a lot of those guys would get permission to play, and it would be some top level competition out there for Club Sevens. It would be very exciting to go down. Belmont Shore, of course, would come out with some ballers. Man, Old Blue, they would get a lot of the Rooney boys. Mystic would get a lot of the Free Jacks guys. Oh my gosh. This could be very, very good if this went down. So I'm hoping for that. If I just had to pick a winner for the men, I would say, just with the understanding that MLR's, going to release some boys, I would say that... Old Blue, man, they've been trying every year, trying to get to that top spot, man. I think Old Blue could pull it off if they got a lot of the Rooney guys. Man, I think Life West can pull it off, though, too, because everybody's going to have MLR boys feeding in somewhere. So it's such a tough thing to call. If I just had to pick one, I'm just going to go with Old Blue because it's time. It's time that they get back up there in the first place. So, there you go on the club section of this. I really hope that it continues to go down. I hope that they figure it out, man. I hope that this thing passes and we could do some Club Sevens this year. So that would be amazing. So now the last one to talk about is the World Rugby 7 Series, baby. And we had some breaking news that came out this morning. I'm going to be releasing this tomorrow, so it would be yesterday. But World Rugby released that the Langford Sevens, the women's Sevens, would not be going down, and then the leg for London and Paris would also be postponed. The Challenger Series, this is a new series that the World Rugby started. It's basically your next 16 teams battling it out to see who will get a spot on the main circuit for the World Rugby 7 Series. It's the purposes of growing the game further and having more competition. Teams like Korea and Japan and Germany and Chile and Jamaica, just some of those teams that you don't always hear. Uruguay, baby! Oh my gosh, the last tournament, Uruguay against Japan. It was the most legendary match that you've ever seen in your life. They went into double overtime at 0-0. Yeah, you got to go back to watch it. It's on YouTube. Wow, unbelievable match. Uruguay, the heart of a champion. These guys, my heart goes out to Uruguay because I really thought that they were going to win it and they had a shot, and I thought there was a tough call where they could have won it, but Japan pulled it off. So kudos to Japan as well. But man, what a match that was. So that was very exciting. It brought a lot of life to the World Rugby Challenger Series, which is a good thing. So that is the last World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series was postponed until later in the year. What they were saying is that in September and October they were going to finish the series, which is really interesting because the Olympics is supposed to be July 27th to August 1st in Tokyo. That's when the Olympics was supposed to go down. So these teams are missing out on they were all talking about, oh wow, Hong Kong and Singapore is now going to be postponed into October. This is going to be really tough for everybody to get ready for the Olympics. And now you're getting rid of London and Paris on top of it, and Langford sevens as well. This is going to be, if they still do this, if they still have the Olympics, which that's a whole nother thing that we need to talk about in a second here, but if they still have the Olympics, man, this is going to be a very interesting thing, because a lot of these teams are not getting the competition that they need before playing in the Olympics. They're not able to train like they're supposed to. People are in quarantine. They're not sure if they should be going out for practices, so they're not practicing. Some are, some aren't. Doing drills in their house, and in the gyms are closing. Like, it's such an unknown thing. So, and even though then the competition level would be pretty even because everybody has to deal with the same thing. But now you're asking for injuries because players are going out there trying to perform at the same level that they usually perform at. And if your body is not in position to perform at the level that it usually performs at, your mind can play tricks like, I could usually burn this guy, or, I could usually go at this rate, or, I could usually go at this distance. My body's used to doing this. That's not the case. If you're not continuing on with practice and competition, your body starts to have effects on it. And if your mind is not aligned with where your body is, your mind is trying to push your body now, and that's how injuries happen. And we don't want, really hard and difficult, or really any injuries to go down in the Olympics because of all this. And this is across the board in all sports. This is the effects that happen. Your mind is like, I could do this. Your body's like, no, you can't. Don't you remember? You haven't been training like this. And it's not just a thing about the body. It's about the mind too. And, especially with rugby sevens, because your mind goes to such dark places where it tells you to stop, and you have to ignore it and continue to keep going. Like, that's the crazy thing with rugby sevens. So your body's trying to tell you to stop, and your mind is like, no, your body can go further, so go ahead and do it. So literally the mind would have to be realigned as well to know that, hey, your body's also not like it was before. So keep that in mind. And to just get everybody on the same page like that to pull it off is just be a very difficult thing. And then, a second note, again, like I said, we're going to talk about the Olympics in a second, but the rest of the series would be played in September and October. The 2021 series would start in December. So that's a very funky, interesting thing. Like, I don't know if they would just kick right back up and go right into December, or they would push the series back a couple months to where it's starting in February. I don't know how they would structure all that. It is such an incredibly massive mess of planning and logistics, and this leads me now to talking about the Olympics. They haven't canceled the Olympics yet. They haven't postponed the Olympics yet. In fact, the reports that I have read for the Olympics, I'm going to share two reports that I have read so far with you. One of them is, so the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, there has been reports that he has set no plans to cancel or postpone the Olympics. Now, this is, I understand it so far, but a decision has to be made soon, because as people have mentioned, you're asking players now to prepare for something that they're uncertain that they're going to actually do. And with all the lockdowns that are going on across the world right now, you're asking people to still be ready for the Olympics, and yet they don't have the ability to train for the Olympics like they would have without this thing happening. I mean, you could improvise in many different ways to try to make it happen, but it's just not the same. So something has to be done soon. It's either going to go down or it's not going to go down. In my opinion, I think this is a money thing so far. This is why it hasn't went down. And I'm just speculating here, but I mean, come on. Do you realize, they prepare for this for 4 years. The amount of logistics, the amount of event planning that goes into a single Olympics, with countries coming in all over the world, vendors, musicians, events, buildings and stadiums and ticket sales and hotels and the food and or the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry. I mean, there's just so many things that go into the Olympics, and there's so much money that's being moved around, and there's so much planning that goes on to this, the people that are involved in it, the staff that are involved in it. And then if you cancel it or you postpone it, or I mean, if you postpone the Olympics, now you're asking everybody to shift to another date, but all those people may have other things that they have on those dates. So everything gets very funky, and it's an extremely, I mean, just putting together an event itself is a very challenging thing. I've been to a lot of sevens tournaments, just the rugby sevens. We're not talking about all the other sports that the Olympics has, but just talking about a rugby sevens tournament, I know a lot of these directors, and I know how much time and effort and money and just work ethic that they put into making sure that the tournament goes down the right way. That, anyhow, like I was saying, it's just a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot that goes into planning an event, and I think that they're trying to be 100% certain that this coronavirus thing just doesn't die down very quickly in the next week or two, and they could still pull off the Olympics. A lot of people are unhappy that they haven't made a decision yet, but we'll see what happens if they make the decision soon or not. But it's a very interesting time to see if they would cancel the Olympics or postpone the Olympics. Man, it's really up for grabs, and we're all just waiting for a decision soon. That being said, there was a report that came out from a member of their committee, Kari Yamaguchi. She is a member of the Olympic Committee, and she came out and said that she believes that the Olympic Committee, or she believes that the Olympics should be postponed. And she, just expressed a lot of different frustrations with why they haven't done that yet. So that's a very interesting thing, and I think that we're going to see the spiral of this story, just as the Olympics as a whole, come to some type of conclusion soon. That ball is going to just keep rolling. I mean, the Olympics. I mean, it's the freaking Olympics. So that ball is going to keep rolling as we go here up until there's some type of resolution or confirmation of what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens there. That's it. That's it for the Sevens Life show. We're actually going to show you the highlight of the week right now. The Sevens Lifer of this episode is Mike Green, baby. Each episode, we're going to shout out a Sevens Lifer, and that's got to be Mike Green. My man, Mike Green, is all about promoting sevens. He's all about playing sevens. He loves rugby as a whole. He's still in high school. He's on the North American High School Series, and he has been a tremendous blessing and help for Rugby Sevens magazine. You could check out some of his videos on our IG page. He edited that cool video game that we put out, the video game footage that we put out. He edited that. I commentated over it. He's been such a blessing to helping the game of sevens grow, and that means so much to me in the sevens community. I hope that you guys appreciate how much effort that we really put in. We're self-funded. We don't get paid to do all this stuff. We love sevens. That's why we do it. So, anytime you comment or like anything that we put out, whether it's your team or your homeboy, your homegirl or not, if you just appreciate sevens and what we've been doing, when you like stuff and you comment on stuff and you tell us that we're doing a good job, that's a great thing. That encourages us to do more. It helps the post spread, gives us more views, all those kind of things like that. The world of views that we're in, I don't really care about views and comments and likes, but I know that those are things that we have to have in order for things to circulate and for order to other people to come in and say, hey, we like what you're doing because you're generating all this exposure. Here's, some funds so that you can continue to do what you do. It's just the way that it works. Me as a person, I can care less about all that kind of stuff like that, but it's just the way that the world is run today. So, anytime that you see these posts that we put out on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and God knows whatever social medias are out there, YouTube, subscribe, follow us, like the stuff and comment on the stuff. Let us know what you really feel like. Give us your genuine thoughts on some of these highlights. I'm okay if you want to come at me. I'm cool with that as well. So I appreciate all the people that follow all of our networks like I really do, and it means a lot. So as we continue to grow the game. First episode of the Sevens Life show, baby. That's it. That's finished. That's finished. Or is there anything else? No, that's it. Right now, we're going to try to do a lot of different things with this show. We're going to try to bring on special guests. We're going to try to do a rugby meme review and who knows what. We have a lot of ideas in our head up here to try to do some new things for Rugby Sevens in this show. And we're so excited that you even watched this video. So awesome. I pray for your families. I pray that you guys stay safe. And everybody just keep on living that sevens life, baby, doing everything that you can to live life to the fullest in all areas of your life. So be the best husband, be the best man, be the best woman, be the best sister, be the best brother, be the best son, be the best daughter, be the best grandma or grandpa. Whatever your role is in life, be the best at it. Do everything possible to be the best at everything that you're doing, not just at the one thing that you like the most. Be the best at everything. So that's Sevens Life, baby. Sevens Life show. I hear the food cooking in the background. We're about to go have some dinner. So, signing off, Dustin Rosen, Rugby Sevens Magazine.